Imagine you have, like, absolute unadulterated freedom.
Oh, that's the dream, right?
Right. It's just no laws, no boss, no social obligations tying you down at all.
Just a totally blank slate.
Exactly. And if you had to picture it, you would probably imagine a scenario where you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with absolutely no consequences.
Because we're so conditioned to view freedom purely as the absence of restriction.
Yeah, like the moment the cage door opens.
Exactly. We rarely define it as an architectural state of being with its own internal logic.
Right, but what if a philosophical framework proved that true ultimate freedom actually requires strict, unyielding rules?
I mean, it sounds like a total contradiction on the surface. But if you look at the mechanics of freedom through certain philosophical lenses, the cage opening is, well, it's barely even the first step.
And we are jumping straight into one of those lenses today for this deep dive.
Yes, we have a really fascinating text today.
We do. We are pulling from an essay dated May 22, 2012, titled The Meaning and Level of Freedom. It was written by Feng, translated by Jing, and edited by Kair.
Right.
And the mission for our deep dive today is to deconstruct this essay's incredibly unique framework. The author essentially takes freedom from, like, a basic political buzzword and elevates it to a literal cosmic destination.
Cosmic is definitely the right word for it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we can understand the ultimate levels of freedom, we have to look at how visceral the human drive for it truly is, or at least how the author presents it.
Yeah, and the text establishes that drive immediately by framing it as a biological impulse, rather than just some abstract philosophy.
Right.
The essay posits that the pursuit of freedom is the unremitting effort and the ultimate pursuit of all beings in the universe.
And notice it says all beings, not just humans.
Exactly, it's universal.
The imagery used is striking, too. The author compares this drive to an eagle soaring in the empty blue sky.
Or a steed galloping across the endless grasslands.
Yeah, it paints this picture of entities totally free to sway and bloom with neither boundaries nor fetters.
But to ground that massive universal feeling into the human experience, the essay cites two specific historical examples.
Just to anchor it a bit.
Right, to anchor this unyielding drive. And it's important to note up front that we are just unpacking the author's unique historical lens here.
Yeah, we're not taking political sides or anything.
No, exactly. We're just looking at how he uses these specific anti-imperial rebellions as his baseline definition to establish freedom as a natural right to life.
Okay, so what's the first example?
He starts by pointing to the American statesman Patrick Henry, noting his famous cry to the Virginia Parliament a quarter of a millennium ago to gain independence from British rule.
So I was reading this section and I got really tripped up by one detail here.
Oh, the translation nuance.
Yeah, the translation in this specific essay claims the original phrasing of his speech from France essentially meant, "Set me free or kill me." That's a massive, fascinating lead-in interpretation from how it's usually quoted in English history books. How exactly is the author using that specific, intense phrasing to make their broader point?
Well, what's fascinating here is how the author distills complex political struggles down to a binary life or death biological imperative.
Like survival at its most basic level.
Precisely. By equating the sentiment to set me free or kill me, the text strips away all the nuances of taxation or governmental structure.
Right, it's not about the T-tax anymore.
No, not at all. The author is establishing that freedom is not a luxury. It's not a secondary human need. According to the text, it is the, quote, greatest creator's gift of a natural right to life.
Wow. So without it, life itself is functionally void.
Exactly.
And the second historical example the text uses carries that exact same weight.
It really does. It brings up the Hungarian poet Petőfi Sándor from about 180 years ago, who's pushing back against the Austrian Empire.
Yeah, and the essay quotes his poem Freedom and Love, which is sometimes called a song of liberty.
Let me grab the translation they use. It reads, life is precious, but love is more expensive, yet if it is for freedom, then both can be discarded.
Both can be discarded. That is so heavy.
Look at the hierarchy of values the author is building there. I mean, life and love are arguably the two things humans cherish most deeply, right?
Oh, absolutely. We base our entire existences around preserving our lives and, finding love.
But the text uses Sandor's poem to argue that if it is for the sake of freedom, even those ultimate human experiences can be just thrown away.
Because in the essay's view, freedom is like the most beautiful flower in the universe.
Yes, the rushing river without restraint. In its arms, there are no fears or worries, only absolute security.
But this leads to what feels like a massive paradox in the essay to me.
How so?
Well, if freedom is this ultimate life or death natural right that surpasses even love, you would assume it means total boundlessness, just burning down every structure.
Pure anarchy, basically.
Yeah. But the text defines freedom as, quote, doing as you please without breaking the rules.
Yeah.
I have to actively push back on this. How can true freedom involve rules? A rule is, by definition, a fence.
I know, it sounds totally counterintuitive.
If I'm that galloping steed on the endless grassland we just talked about, the whole point is that there are no fences.
I see exactly why that feels contradictory, but the author is, he's redefining the concept of a rule here.
Okay, how?
Well, we hear the word and immediately think of the British rule or the Austrian Empire that Patrick Henry and Petofi Sandor were fighting against. Artificial, oppressive laws.
Right, man-made stuff.
But the text is talking about the natural laws of harmony. The essay states that freedom is to fully bloom the nature of Tathagata.
Tathagata, which translates to Buddha nature.
Yes, exactly. Buddha nature.
Let's break that term down for a second, because Buddha nature sounds great on a bumper sticker, but what does it actually mean in the context of personal freedom?
In this philosophical framework, Buddha nature, or Tathagata, refers to the inherent unconditioned potential inside every single being. It's your true self, completely unobscured by ego, or greed, or societal conditioning.
So the real you deep down.
Right. The idea is that when you act from your absolute true nature, your actions naturally align with the fundamental laws of the universe.
Ah, okay, so the essay specifically says, freedom is doing what you want without interfering with others in society and without harming nature.
Exactly.
So your freedom cannot come at the cost of someone else's.
Right. If you are truly operating from your Buddha nature, you simply wouldn't want to cause harm. So the rule isn't a fence keeping you in, it's just the natural physics of existing perfectly.
Oh, I see.
If we go back to the galloping steed, true freedom isn't destructive anarchy. It isn't galloping through a crowded market and trampling innocent people just because you feel like running.
Right, because that would be acting out of ego or recklessness, not Buddha nature.
Exactly. It's a harmonious state. You are galloping without shackles, but doing so in a way that respects the ecosystem around you.
And the essay describes that as releasing the breath of love without interference or obstruction.
Yes. And the result of existing in that non-destructive way is what the text calls a state with no fear, anxiety, or precautions.
Which actually makes total sense. You don't need precautions if you aren't harming anyone, because no one has a reason to harm you back.
Exactly. It leads to what the essay beautifully calls the flirtatious blooming of Buddha nature.
Flirtatious blooming. I love that phrasing.
It really is poetic. And once the author establishes this baseline that freedom is a harmonious, non-destructive state of being rather than just doing whatever you want, the essay maps out the mechanics of how to actually achieve it.
Because it's not instantaneous.
Right, not at all. The text provides a clear roadmap through 3 distinct levels of freedom, starting at the level of the individual.
Okay, so section 3. The first level of freedom. The imagery here is incredibly evocative.
It paints quite a picture.
It really does. The text talks about bartering empty fame for the pleasures of good wine and sweet song. It describes wearing a straw cloak, spending life in the mist and rain, sitting in the dreamy shades of apricot flowers in a spring that seems boundless, just singing and playing the flute until dawn.
It is deeply poetic, but look at the actual mechanism behind the poetry.
Okay, what do you mean?
The text says you reach this first level by being above the common and free from vulgarity. It is about finding the tranquility to enjoy the wonderful moments given by nature.
So you're actively rejecting the artificial constructs of society.
Exactly.
It's essentially the ultimate locking off. I was thinking about this, and it is the spiritual equivalent of putting your phone on airplane mode forever, packing your bags, and moving to a quiet cabin in the woods.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. You are actively trading the rat race, the corporate ladder, the pursuit of wealth, what the text calls empty fame, for a straw cloak and a flute under the apricot flowers. It is a deeply personal, isolated retreat.
And for many people, that level of isolation sounds like the absolute pinnacle of freedom.
Oh, totally. Sign me up for the apricot flowers.
Right. You have mastered your own internal state and removed yourself from oppressive systems. But there's a fatal flaw in this first level.
A flaw? What is it?
If you are alone in the woods, Your freedom relies entirely on isolation. It's incredibly fragile.
Oh, I see.
The moment someone else walks into your woods or, a developer decides to pave over your apricot flowers to build a strip mall, your freedom is threatened.
Ah, because you can't control what other people do. You can't just hide from the world forever if you want durable, bulletproof freedom.
Precisely why the author moves to the next stage. To achieve true, unshakable freedom, you have to figure out how to be free around other people.
You have to integrate.
Yes, which scales us up to the second level.
The second level of freedom. And the imagery shifts dramatically here from a solitary person in the mist to this massive, vibrant, bustling landscape.
It opens way up.
Yeah, the text describes seeing thousands of hills crimsoned through by their serried woods deep-dyed. Hundreds of barges vying over crystal blue waters, eagles cleaving the air, fish gliding through clear water.
And the mechanism to achieve this second level is completely different from the first. You aren't retreating to a cabin anymore.
Right.
The text says you achieve this by making the world peaceful and warm, a place where everyone can be like the ancient sage kings Yao and Shun.
Okay, we should definitely clarify Yao and Shun for context for the listener.
Yeah.
These are mythological Chinese rulers, right? Known for moral perfection.
Yes, in traditional Chinese philosophy, Yao and Shun represent the ultimate ideal of leadership.
Okay.
They didn't rule through coercion or military might or strict laws. They supposedly ruled through pure moral virtue, what is sometimes called effortless action.
Wow.
Their own perfect harmony inspired the entire society to behave harmoniously. So the text is saying that in the second level of freedom, every single person embodies that level of wisdom and benevolence.
It creates a state where the green grass reaches far along the ancient road. And it is so deeply intoxicating that the essay actually claims even mountains and rivers get drunk.
I love that phrase.
It's beautiful, but I have a major point of contention here.
Let's hear it.
Amidst all this beautiful imagery, the text says, quote, "Under autumn skies, a million creatures contend in freedom. The barges are vying over the waters."
Yes.
If a million creatures are contending, doesn't that inherently mean conflict? I mean, contending means fighting for space or resources. Doesn't that break the very rules of freedom we just established?
That's a really sharp observation. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at how Eastern philosophy views harmony compared to a standard Western lens.
Okay, how so?
In the West, we often view harmony as a perfectly manicured lawn. It's static, it's controlled, it's peaceful.
Sure, very orderly.
But the author's concept of a million creatures contending is more like a dense, old-growth forest.
But wait, a forest only looks peaceful to someone walking through it.
Exactly.
For the actual trees and plants, it's like a slow-motion war for sunlight, where the losers literally wither and die in the shade. How is that harmonious for the tree that loses out?
That is a brilliant distinction because it forces us to confront our own ego in defining freedom.
Okay, my ego is listening.
From an individualistic, ego-driven perspective, dying in the shade is a loss. It's a failure. But from the perspective of Buddha nature, where you are entirely stripped of ego, you are not just the single tree.
You're the whole forest.
You are an expression of the entire ecosystem. The contending isn't a zero-sum deathmatch driven by malice. It is vibrant, dynamic participation in the cycle of life.
Oh, why?
The trees vying for sunlight, the eagles hunting the fish, they are fulfilling their natural roles without excess greed or cruelty. They are releasing the breath of love without obstruction.
So it's not malicious.
No, not at all. Freedom at this level is a complex, active societal harmony where a million creatures express their true nature simultaneously.
So death or losing a resource isn't a failure in level 2. It's just the natural physics of a healthy turning wheel.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, so we have mastered the self by leaving empty fame behind in level 1.
Right.
And we have mastered our relationship to others by building this perfectly balanced, dynamic ecosystem in level 2. The mountains and rivers are drunk on harmony. Why go further? What could possibly be higher than a perfect utopian society?
Because eventually, even a perfect physical utopia is still bound by the laws of physics. It's still a cage. It's just a really, really beautiful one. And this is where the essay shatters the boundaries of reality entirely. We move to the third level of freedom.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The text describes this third level as jumping out of the 3 realms, not in the 5 elements.
Yes.
It talks about traveling through the vastness of time and space at will. This is a massive leap from barges on a river.
It is a total paradigm shift. We are moving from the physical to the metaphysical.
Right.
To grasp the scale of jumping out, we have to define what the three realms and five elements actually represent.
Please do.
In Eastern thought, the three realms usually refer to the realms of desire, form, and formlessness. Essentially, the psychological and karmic bounds of all worldly existence. And the five elements, wood, fire, earth, metal, and water, are the fundamental building blocks of physical reality.
So jumping out of them means bypassing the laws of physics and human psychology entirely.
Completely. You are no longer bound by gravity or time or even the cycle of life and death.
That is wild.
To achieve this, the text says you must listen to the teachings of gods, Buddhas, immortals, and saints, and walk the way of the greatest creator. It is complete cosmic transcendence.
The result of walking this way is just mind-bending to me. The essay says that at this level, you can raise a handful of sand and transform it into thousands of green trees.
Yeah.
You can gallop freely in the universe and create infinite beauty. It's literally like breaking out of the Matrix or entering sandbox mode in a video game where the developer's rules no longer apply to your character.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right. You aren't just existing in the forest ecosystem anymore. You are controlling the code of the universe.
But notice the causality here, because this is crucial. You cannot reach this cosmic sandbox mode of level 3 without first mastering level 2.
Why is that?
Because level 3 requires the total absence of ego. Think about it. If someone was still operating with a selfish level 1 or level 2 mindset, still wanting to dominate or hoard resources, and you gave them the power to turn sand into trees, they wouldn't create infinite beauty.
Oh, yeah. They would become a tyrant.
They would turn the sand into weapons.
Well, they just hoard all the trees and charge people to look at them.
Exactly. The ultimate evolution of the Tathagata, the Buddha nature, is that you are trusted with the power of the universe because your will is perfectly aligned with the greatest creator.
Ah, so you can't abuse the power because you have no desire to abuse it.
Right. You have moved from worldly peace to absolute cosmic liberation. No physical fetters, no constraints, no shackles whatsoever. You transition from being a participant in the ecosystem to a co-creator of reality.
It is an incredible intellectual journey. I mean, we started with Patrick Henry's desperate, very human cry for political independence from a king, and we end up outside of the elements, creating trees out of sand in the vastness of space and time.
It really is quite a ride. The scope of the essay redefines freedom from a temporary societal condition, like simply not being in prison, into the ultimate evolutionary path for all life in the universe.
And that evolutionary path is exactly how the author closes the essay. It is a final rallying cry.
Yes.
The text says, "Long live freedom. Let us sway in the youthful time, play to the youthful music, walk out of the kingdom of necessity, and move toward the kingdom of freedom."
The contrast there between the kingdom of necessity and the kingdom of freedom is so poignant to me.
Yeah, what does that mean to you?
It implies that so much of what we experience now, our daily grinds, our conflicts, our anxieties, they are just base necessities for survival. They aren't who we truly are.
Well,
The author finishes by saying, "I know the road to freedom. Come with me, hold my hand as we run to the free hills to sing and dance and to enjoy the endless, most wonderful time of life and of life." And that last life is fully capitalized in the text.
it's an invitation to elevate your entire existence. As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to turn this back to you listening. Based on the framework we just unpacked, I want you to reflect on your own life right now. Which level of freedom are you currently striving for?
It's a great question.
Are you feeling completely overwhelmed by the noise and the empty fame of the modern world, desperately seeking the quiet tranquility of those dreamy apricot flowers in level 1? Or are you looking outward, doing the hard work to build that harmonious, dynamic society with others in the Crimson Hills of level 2?
It's a profound tool for self-reflection because recognizing where you are on that path changes how you interact with the world around you.
Absolutely.
If you know you are still trying to master your own internal peace, you won't be as frustrated when you struggle to harmonize with society,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I want to leave you with one final provocative thought, something that builds on the text's incredible trajectory. If the ultimate third level of freedom requires jumping out of the physical realms, transcending the 3 realms and the 5 elements entirely to travel time and space,
Yeah.
what does that actually mean for the physical world we leave behind?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Right. Does achieving absolute perfect cosmic freedom mean we have to fundamentally let go of our human attachments to the very world we work so hard to make peaceful and beautiful in level 2?
That is the ultimate tension of transcendence. To become truly boundless and manipulate the sand into trees, must we leave the beautiful, thriving ecosystem we finally perfected?
It brings us right back to the beginning. We think we know what freedom is when we chant it at protests or slap it on a bumper sticker.
We do.
We think it's just about unlocking a door. But maybe true freedom isn't just opening the door, it's stepping entirely outside the building into a universe where you don't even need the ground beneath your feet. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. Keep questioning the definitions of the words you use every day. You never know what universes are hiding inside them.